Welcome back, everyone. I thought I would do an update video on some projects that I've been kind of working on. So let's start off with the entryway. I just recently did a video on tearing apart the entryway and restructuring everything, or re-insulating the walls and fixing some water leaks and doing some masonry work. So I thought I would share with you how that all came out. Okay, so clearly we've got a new storm door. This is a Larson storm door with a hidden screen. Basically self-storing screen, they call it, and the screen kind of rolls down with the glass. This makes it a lot easier for seasonal transitions. You don't have to pop the whole panel out, store it in the basement, put the screen in, and then swap it around every season. It's a little bit easier to manage. It's also a very well-made door compared to what we had, and so it should be a little more airtight. So we would have more of a more effective air gap between the door and the storm door. Being a non-insulated door, there is no. This thing conducts, temperature quite easily. It conducts heat and cold very easily. So, in the wintertime, the old door, which leaked like a sieve, even with the glass in, it was nice and cold over here. And I will never replace this door because it's a beautiful door. So, anyway, moving on. So the final cleanup and patching of all nail holes is done, and so this is looking pretty nice. The concrete or mortar curbing that I formed around the edge of this slab is doing a very effective job at keeping water out of the basement. What was happening before is water was literally pouring down. So the original trim boards were installed before they poured the concrete. So when those trim boards rotted away, water would just pour right down in there and right into the basement. So now that that's all sealed up, I fashioned an aluminum, we'll call it a kick plate, that covers the concrete curbing that I formed against the PVC exterior trim under the door, and that protects the mace or the mortar that I used from being kicked or impacted by a shovel or anything, which could compromise its sealing ability. And I used stainless steel screws to fasten the trim right to the PVC. All exterior trim on any project that I do to this house is done in PVC, so it will never rot. It's permanent. Now, after I did the mortar work around the perimeter, once it had given some time to cure, I actually sealed it once again with. I actually used a product that's designed for repairing and sealing concrete chimney caps, or crowns. It's basically, I think it's a product called Crown Saver, and it's a flexible paint that bonds to concrete, and it forms an airtight barrier that prevents water from soaking in, which when gone through a freeze cycle can cause spalling and other damage to the concrete and mortar. So this stuff here, it just gives it one extra layer of protection. Water cannot get in there. Now, there's a possibility that every couple of years I may have to come back and recoat it with the sealer, but I'm totally okay with that. I didn't stop there. Now, you got to give me some credit. I'm not a mason, but I veneered the entire staircase in mortar mix. It's called a repair mortar, which bonds very well to concrete. So I repaired the broken edges. I had like this whole section here was missing. all of this was missing. It was broken almost all the way back. So I reformed it and remolded it in repair mortar, which is what it's good for. I then troweled a thin layer of the mortar all over the entire concrete step. And while it doesn't look great, it looks better than it did, and it fills in. So what was happening is there was a lot of erosion happening in this region here, where the water comes off the roof, and the aggregate was exposed. The sandy layer, the sand that forms that smooth surface, was all worn away. What the repair mortar does for me is it fills in and restores some of that finish. It's actually a little bit wet from all the rain we've been having, so it's a little discolored, but that's okay. And a leaf fell on there and stained it, so I'm at a crossroads at this point. I might skim it over with some resurfacer and call it a day, or I may leave it alone. I don't know. I thought about painting this, but I was talked out of it by a lot of people. Because paint, even concrete paint, doesn't necessarily adhere very well or permanently to concrete. That was the plan. The plan was to paint it. And I even bought the paint and all the acid etching stuff, and I was, again, talked out of it. So I might just leave it alone for now. So how effective were my repairs in the end? Well, pretty good. Now, since I've redid all this whole entryway, we have had no less than 3 downpours and 1 man-made flood that I did a little bit deliberately. And I have had no water intrusion at all. Knock on wood. Knock on whatever is left of... Oh, that's solid. Yeah. So, yeah. We have had 3 downpours. And I mean downpours. Like monsoon level rains. And really, no water. Not a drip, not a drop, not a drizzle. So I'm feeling good about this. I think it's going to work out in the long run. And that again is step 1 to fixing the real problem, which is, well, the lack of support. Really, for these beams here. I want to point something else out too. So, the way they constructed this house, these are tripled up, and those are tripled up. Now these, if there was any appreciable weight at all on these, this would have collapsed years ago, because there's nothing supporting these 3 except for that little wood block, which I added. They haven't shifted, haven't budged, haven't moved. So the permanent repair for the rotted floor joists that we have going on here is to remove one by one, remove and replace one by one each of these. What I've got to do is jack this whole thing up. I've got to cut the sill out, pull the wire off of it. I've got to cut about 1 foot off that sill and replace it with a new piece of pressure treated material cut to dimensions, to the exact dimensions of what's there. Knock it into position. I'm then going to replace each, well, I'm going to have to replace, getting kind of, yeah, something in my mouth here. Ugh. I'm going to cut out at least these 2 to a point. You know, I'm going to step them out. Cut that one here. This one gets cut here. This one gets cut here, and boom, boom, boom. And then what I'm probably going to do, rather than remove this one, is I'm going to put another floor joist coming this way and just sister it. It'll hold. It'll be good. It'll work. Now on this side here, we've got tripled up floor joists, and these are holding a lot of weight. These are supporting almost the entire kitchen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to remove, this is what's holding up the banister. This is not structural, but it has, as the house has settled, this has bowed a little bit, but no big deal. This is coming out, and I'm going to put a lally column right here. I want to take the burden off of what's going on over there. I want to take the burden off of it, and then I'm going to work on restructuring that one as well. But once I get all the weight off of this guy here, you know, pretty much don't have to do anything. As long as the water leaks don't return, that'll be fine until I sell the house and they ask, oh, why is that like that? So I'll have to fix it for vanity's sake. But I want to take the load off of that and kind of you know, support, you know, this guy a little bit better. So because what's happening is this wall and everything above it, like the refrigerator, is it's all coming down right here. So, but fixing that water leak, that's step one. So, step one. And I'm gonna go a little bit crazier. You know, I'm going to probably put some new blocking in this floor here because it's the noisiest one, and yeah, there's a lot of shifting going on. These old blockings that they put in when they built the place, you know, they're dried out, they're shrunken a little bit, so it's a little bit yeah, it's a little bit hairy, but still solid though. It's still solid. But like I said, I've been quite busy lately, and well, let's take a look at this. So this is our broom closet. Now this was built as a coat closet, and we don't really need to use it as we have plenty of other closets in the house. Nobody enters the front door and puts their coat in here. That just isn't a thing. We come in the side door and put our coats over there. So there's no need to have a coat closet here. So what I did is I took the original coat bar that was mounted here. I tore that out. I took the original shelf out, and I built 4 new shelves for all of our cleaning supplies and vacuum stuff. But I didn't stop there. Now you might, I don't know if I ever showed this in any videos or not, but I actually started running wires in the corner of this closet with the expectation that eventually I would build a boxed wire chaseway in here. And now was a good time to do that. So I went over to Home Depot and I bought the necessary lumber to do this. I built a fully boxed chaseway for the wires that feed the garage, the breezeway, and there's another wire that goes up there. But I didn't stop there. I also put an outlet right here for our rechargeable hand vacuum. And I gotta be honest with you, that was one of the main motivating factors behind getting this project done. So you see we have a Kirby Centria, wonderful vacuum, weighs a ton, lots of accessories, but it's not the right tool for the job. The Kirby Centria is a fantastic vacuum for what it is. Hell, it's one of the best vacuums you can buy, period. However, we don't have carpet. We have area rugs. We have an area rug in the living room. We have one in each bedroom. Why do we need this? So I went out and I ordered, because I actually saved a little bit of money ordering it directly from the manufacturer, but I got and you vacuum guys, I know you're going to have an opinion on this one way or the other, but I got a Dyson V11 Animal. The Dyson V11 Animal, which has not arrived yet, I don't have it at this point, but it should be here any day, is going to mount, there's a charging base that mounts to the wall, and it plugs into a nearby outlet. So one of the reasons for having that outlet there is for the new Dyson Animal, V11 Animal. It's a stick vacuum. Lightweight stick vacuum, can be used for a multitude of applications. Because I ordered it directly from Dyson, they also included a free hard floor cleaning kit. So it's designed for cleaning hard surfaces. So win-win altogether. Win-win all around. That's going to go here. The Kirby is getting, I'm going to put that up for, it's actually up for sale right now on Facebook Marketplace. I have every accessory except for the shampooer, but I'm hoping to get rid of this thing and just use the Dyson V11 to clean the house. But I didn't stop there. We had a broom holder, a very cheap, the only one I could find when I bought it, broom holder that would mount on the wall. It was a little smaller than this one, and it didn't really clamp on anything. It was a terrible product, and it was the only thing I could find, and I needed one. So I went out and I looked again, and I found this one. This is made by Unger, and they sell these at Home Depot. I couldn't find it at Lowe's though. And basically, it's really the same product that we use at work. The custodial closets at work have these in them for their brooms and such, and they work very well. You just push the broom in, or push the handle right into the little rubber thing, and it just stays there. I like it. Does the job, looks nicer, holds more things. I love it. Now you'll notice that my shelving, I mean, yeah, my carpentry isn't, I didn't really go nuts here. If this were, say, in the dining room, like right there, you know, I would have done a much better job. But it's in a closet, and I don't care. But I did make, I made all of my shelf bracket material, my shelf brackets are made entirely from leftover scrap PVC that I was going to throw away, so I didn't have to paint it. And I haven't set the nails. I will set the nails in and put some spackle over them. I actually have some PVC spackle for that purpose, and it'll look a little bit nicer. And then I painted the whole thing up. I used some leftover bedroom paint. My parents gave me a light fixture that they bought for their house but never installed, so I put a nice little light fixture in here. And there you go. Every little bit counts. So slowly but surely, this place is becoming home. Rosie's still alive. Remember her? She made the move from the condo to my parents' house for a month, then over to here. Actually, I think I lived there for 2 months. And there she is, in all her froggy self. She's doing pretty well. A lot of people ask about her still. Kind of funny. This, you know, one of the things about living in a house with wooden doors is that they stick in the high humid seasons. And this door is no exception. It drags at the bottom. You can actually clearly see where it's dragging, and in the winter time it doesn't do that. Go figure. So at some point I'm going to have to maybe do some hinge adjustments. Actually, I think I can plane the bottom of this door. No, I can't. It's got a metal. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, it's got a metal. Check this out. 1950s weather stripping. It's just it's a metal interlocking, like a draft stop. I think they're supposed to be full of felt or something, but I have these on all the exterior doors, and they do a decent enough job. But I'm gonna have to readjust that door. But I can't go in anymore. It looks like they've already pushed it out a little bit at the bottom. Now, if I push the door in, like if I go like this with it, it's going to drag at the jamb. I'll leave it alone. But because it has that metal draft stop, I would have to remove that to make any planing adjustments to the door. Like that's how you normally would do it. You take the door off and you plane it where it's dragging. But because of that stupid metal stuff, I can't do that unless I completely eliminate it. This door does the same thing in the summertime. Although it works a little bit better. So, oh man, and the poor basement door. Oh, what a nightmare. Yeah, this one here, right there on the top. Now this door, all I gotta do is I gotta take my plane and just get the top of the door and I can fix that pretty easily. But it only does it in July and sometimes in August when the humidity is high. But that's the plight of any house with wooden doors, is they always stick when they swell and the humidity. If I were to air condition the house, I think that problem would solve itself, but I'm not going to do that, so. The humidity is so bad that freaking dehumidifier will not stop. It's just running and running and running and running and running and running and running. So my light bill this month is going to look a lot more like a mortgage payment, I'm pretty sure. But this is the Frigidaire 70 pint dehumidifier. It was the biggest one I could find locally, and it does a decent enough job. But I'm starting to think that I need to get something a little bit more powerful. A more powerful unit will run a little bit less, I think, than this one does, or I get another one. You see, what happens is, and I could probably solve this problem for the most part by coating the foundation walls with Drylock. But what happens is the moisture in the soil weeps through or soaks into the concrete, and it kind of outgasses off into the living space, and that's pretty typical. But it doesn't make it okay, of course. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of an issue. This basement is nice and comfortable right now, but it's still, the humidity is still an issue down here. But anyway. So while I was running wire for that outlet in the closet, which is above my head, I said, you know what? If I'm going to waste my last breaker spot on this, I'm going to make the most of it. So I ran an outlet over here. So I now have an outlet right by my workbench. See, we had one outlet in the basement over there. And slowly I've been adding more and more and more. I got one for the laundry machines. I got one for that end of the basement where my girlfriend's stuff is. She's in the middle of doing some organizing, but there's an outlet underneath the stairs where she's got a little work table. So I put a double duplex outlet right here, or a duplex outlet right here, so that I can power the workbench, and she can power. She wants to set up a couple of grow lights for her gardening. She's realizing that she has to start her plants in the winter if she hopes to produce, vegetables and fruit and stuff, in the summer. So she's going to start her plants indoors, and she went out and bought a grow light that's going to hang from the ceiling, and that'll be there to power that. But more importantly, I got an outlet finally dedicated to my power machines, my woodworking equipment, my table saw, my drill press. So that gets powered by this outlet. And I did a 20 amp circuit. I know you probably might have noticed that it's a 20 amp circuit. Every circuit I run now is 20 amps, by the way. So there shouldn't be an issue with overloading it, by running a saw and maybe a grow light or something. It should be fine. I think so. And yes, that was my very last breaker spot. I have filled this panel to its absolute capacity. We need a bigger panel. That's kind of a given at this point. So there it is. Breaker position number 2020 is my basement power and the closet power. So, and yeah, it's a sad day. When you fill up your panel, it's a sad day. It means that you now have to replace it with a bigger panel, which will be the third panel that's been installed in this little home. The original 60 amp box was right there. Here's the permit, the original permit for the house's original wiring on 8/24/1954. Here's the electrician, A.H. Bover, and that is who he worked for. Baker Associates. So either that's the house's original builder, the contractor, or it could be the electrician's firm that he worked for. I don't know which one it is. But anyway, just thought I'd give you guys a little update on some stuff that we're doing around the house and some of the progress we've made. And that's kind of a boring video, but hey, what the hell, right? Maybe I'll go live tonight. I haven't done that in a long time. I've been so damn busy. Well, until then, folks, have a great July 4th, and may the 4th be with you.